The undertone of that was always, we're not good enough. We can't let people see. There's so much shame. It's like almost metaphorical for the like wanting to hide any kind of parts of yourself that might be flawed. I feel like it's so important to have outside sources and external people to learn from, but also to understand your intuition and your discernment. I was so confident that my career was going to be a touring musician. That was exactly what I was going to do. And I got with this narcissist who knew my power and was afraid of it. So did everything that he could to make it impossible for me to see it. And music was one of the things that he separated me from and made me think I could never do it and that I sucked. And I believed that.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the podcast. In today's episode, we have one of my very best, closest, and dearest friends, Sydney, also known as Ananarrah. Sydney is a beautiful, multi-talented, multifaceted soul. She's one of my favorite people on this earth. She is a psychic medium and intuitive spiritual guide who's also started a business creating jewelry, which is amazing. Also, these earrings that I'm wearing right now were created by her, and some of the jewelry I'm wearing in the episode was also created by her. She's also an amazing musician, one of the greatest musicians that I know. And I'm so glad that I finally got to get her on the podcast because we just have the best conversations. We touched on so many important topics in this episode, from the fear of being seen and learning how to own your authenticity to Sydney's creative struggles and her journey with music. And we also talked about the difficulty in learning how to let people go that are no longer meant to be in your life, and so much more. So if that resonates with you, definitely stay tuned. I know this is a longer episode, but we just got into so much juicy conversation, and it's definitely worth listening to the whole thing. So I hope it resonates, and I hope you love it as much as I do. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the We Are the Medicine podcast. Today I'm here with my beautiful, amazing friend, Sydney, aka Ananarrah.
Ananarrah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this is awesome because we have been wanting to do this forever.
Oh my God. Yeah, and we're just gonna keep it super conversational because we have literally the best conversations ever. And we always go super deep into like everything that we talk about. But it's so funny because we were talking about before we got started how there's something so interesting that happens like when you turn on a camera and you know that somebody's gonna see or hear what you're saying.
Yes.
There's a part of you that wants to like, oh, I have to be something. I have to look good. I have to make sure I don't say the wrong thing.
The energy stiffens.
Yeah.
It's like it adds like a certain filter to not just like what you say or how you say it, but it's almost like it adds a filter to your energy too, like a block.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, oh, I can't fully be myself because if I fully just like allow people to see me, like it's unsafe. Someone's gonna judge me. Someone's gonna think like.
So I will bring this up because I think it kind of goes with this. I was at therapy yesterday, and one of the things that we were discussing was being seen, and how if I'm feeling something and I'm speaking about it, how she was putting it, it's like I would smile as I was talking about certain things that were uncomfortable for me. And the reason why I feel like, because there was a part of that was like I was afraid to be seen, or I was afraid to be seen feeling deep things. And so like I just feel like that kind of correlates a little bit. It's a little different, but kind of similar because it's like, it's just not, it's incongruent. It's like whenever the camera goes on, then your mind's on, then you're like, I gotta look good. Like I gotta be super perfect and I have to come off this way. It's like, it's just not congruent with what you really want to say or who you really are.
Yeah. And I think I feel like I try really hard to be like just myself and just be like, because I feel like the world needs more of that. But I still feel like, oh, someone's listening to me. I have to like be a certain way. You know?
Because if you think about it, like putting yourself on camera for a lot of people to see, that's vulnerable.
It is.
That's vulnerable. that puts you in such a, it's like you're safe, but you're putting yourself out there to be seen and judged by many. And so I feel like we can sense that a little bit when filming something. And also you could just say that as like when you're posting an Instagram story or posting a photo on Instagram, like feeling like you have to watch the likes, and if there's only like this I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my God, I only got this many views. Like, I suck. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like it really does have a lot to do with the fear of being seen, which is something I have really struggled with and still am working through in many ways. But I think a lot of it has to do with how many times throughout our lives in our childhoods were we the center of attention, or were we allowing ourselves to be open and expressive, and we were shut down. We had someone tell us like, no, don't talk so loud, don't say that, we've had all of these moments where we've had authority figures or peers or whoever say, no, you can't just be yourself.
Yeah.
And
or tone it down.
We internalize that okay, I have to be what other people want me to be.
There is like this really interesting wound in a lot of families, mine included, where the image is so imperative. It's so important. And to only show people what will make you look good, or only just like, it's like being so calculated. Calculating your what I'm going to say next, or what I'm going to wear, or what I'm going to post, or how much of myself I'm going to show with the world, because it was ingrained so deeply to protect the image and to always make things look good, to not allow people to judge you because it, can affect the family name. And I understand that to a certain extent, but I feel like there's something about that can be so limiting and challenging that definitely can come into play for some people, if that is the way you were raised.
Yeah, it makes me think of something I always think about. It's so funny. So anytime I have people come over to my house, I have to clean. I have to make sure everything is in its place, and the floors are swept and all these things. We can't have dishes in the sink. And it's funny because today, actually, I had no time to do any of that. You came over and my house was just it was what it was.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. It's this, and it's I still want, I kind of like that though, on one hand, because I like my house being clean, and sometimes people coming over will motivate me to actually clean my house.
Oh, dude.
Which is nice.
30 minutes deep clean it?
Yes, which is great. But then on the other hand, it's there's an element to it where it's oh, I have to put up this front. Anytime people come over, my house looks perfect and it looks clean.
On the time.
But
when it's not.
And so it's in my mind, it's they'll think that I'm a clean person, I'm organized and I keep my house so perfect. But it's not like that a lot of the time. And I'm sure there's so many people like that, especially people who have kids. Oh my God, I can only imagine.
Bro, so my mom, growing up, it would be hellish. Absolute hell. If we were having a party or just people coming over, the cleanup and everything, it was World War III. It was so demanding and so much, and it has to be perfect, it can't be gross. I get that. I understand. You want to be presentable. I love providing a warm, cozy environment to folks, but it was just because the undertone of that was always, we're not good enough. We can't let people see our shadow. We can't let our mess.
Yes.
It's so ashamed. There's so much shame, and it's almost metaphorical for the wanting to hide any kind of parts of yourself that might be flawed.
Yeah.
Or
if it's
goofy,
not perfect, I can't let you see it.
Yeah.
And that's what's wrong with so much of our society, and especially these days with social media. You go, you're feeling like shit, and then you go on social media and you're oh my God, all these people have
shit.
Yes. And they all these people have a perfect life, and I feel like shit. And it's like, I don't know. I think that there's a nuance to it because I also feel like there's a line where, like, when people post, like, videos of themselves crying and things, I think that there's a way to do it that can be, like, natural and real. But there's some instances where I see it and I'm like, if I'm, like, having a real deep process, the first thing that I think to do is not to be on camera. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Oh wait, let me get my phone so I can record myself crying to be vulnerable. Like, I feel like there's ways that you can be vulnerable and show those moments without making it, like, forced.
I wonder if there's a level of, like, I need to show how in pain I am for you to see me or for you to understand me.
Oh my God.
Or, like, I need you to, like, if I don't evoke this raw emotion at this right time, then nobody will see me or understand or validate me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I don't know.
Oh my God,
that's
it makes sense.
Theory.
It makes sense because it actually makes me think about me in, like, middle school.
Really?
When I was in, like, middle school, early high school, and I had Facebook, it was kind of like, you know, the earlier days of Facebook. Yeah. It's so cringy to look at my old Facebook posts from, like, middle school when they come up, and I'm, like, talking about, like, how I hate my mom and how depressed I am, and I'm just like, oh God,
just
it's
needing
so
someone
cringy.
To see you, though.
Yes, but it was like,
because nobody was seeing you.
I was a teenager and a young adult child in, like, desperate need of someone to be like, okay, I see you, you're in pain. You know? And, like, because the environment that I was in, I didn't, like, my mom wasn't validating me. Like,
that was it. Yeah, nobody, even just crying out for help or expressing your anger or expressing your fear or expressing your sadness and your concern, that was never seen.
Yeah.
It was always either, like, reprimanded or reprimanded or whatever the word is, or it was, you know, ignored. Or went unheard because, you know, and so now it's like that part of you resorted to that because you've exhausted all of your resources at that point.
Yeah.
Nothing had worked. So can't blame little Sariena there.
I know. Like, I gotta have compassion for that version of me because as cringy as it is, and as cringy as it is when I see people doing it now.
Right.
Especially, like, there's people that I know who are, like grown-ass adults, like 60 years old, who are just posting all their problems on Facebook. And it's like, I just, like, I laugh, but also, like, I have a lot of compassion because life is fucking hard and people feel alone. Like, we're in this world where we are so, like, trapped in these boxes of our houses and we're so separated from other people in ways that are, like, unnatural. Like, historically, for thousands of years, humans lived in community with other people. And so we thrive and we need each other. And we need our time alone, too, but, like, we need to be with people that we trust and with people that love us.
That also, like, what you were saying, it was making me think of, okay, the idea of being seen by millions.
Crazy.
That's odd. Okay, now get this, right? I saw somebody post, like, when you're scrolling and you're seeing people's tweets, like, you were not meant to know what this person is doing at this hour. Like, it's weird. It's odd.
It is.
That we have so much, and I don't care. I mean, like, that's, like, a perspective. I thought it was interesting, you know? But I think, like, what I really find fascinating and resonate with is how much access we have to everyone at all of the times, and the expectation that you have to be there at all times to answer my text or to check the phone and call me back or to like, there's been such a, now don't get me wrong, it's awesome to be able to connect anytime you want. Like, that's great. But I think that there becomes, like, a level of expectation because the boundaries and the lines have been blurred so much between, like, being somebody being accessible to you.
Yeah.
And being able to reach them compared to the landlines and having or writing notes or letters to people.
And you see these like mega celebrities who you just know too much about their lives. Like you know the shit about their man cheating on them and their relationship drama and their drama with their baby's father or like whoever.
We know too much about everybody and their lives on such a personal level.
And yet we don't know enough.
Know them. Exactly. We don't have enough. Okay, what happened before that? Why, we don't have the backstory.
Right.
We just have the headlines of what will make you think of that certain person in this way.
What's going to make me go viral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's...
And like we're not... But it's so funny. Like that's such an interesting place to take it. Like to take this conversation because it's like we have so much access to people and their lives and like what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, but we don't actually have real connection with them.
We don't at all.
It's sad.
Like parasocial relationships, you've heard about that?
No, what is that?
I don't know the exact definition, but what I can tell you is...
I love the way you just like shorten words.
Yes.
Definition.
The definition. But a parasocial relationship is like where you feel like you know that person that you follow and you just know them. You feel so connected with them to the point where you completely trust them, but you really don't know who that is. You feel like they're your friend. You feel like they are like your family, which, yeah, that's beautiful. Like, that's how I feel, but it can be dangerous because people like... stalking can happen. Like stalkers have that really intense, no, I know them, they're my person. Yeah. Like I'm destined to be with them. It's like, and it's like, okay, there's a grounded approach to that, right? Because I feel truly like everybody who supports me and that I've met along the way, I love them. It's I'm so grateful and I feel so connected. But, right, like, obviously there's boundaries with that. There needs to be.
Yeah.
And there needs to be like, because there can become a dangerous power dynamic between whoever the influencer is with their audience and that parasocial dynamic, I think is what I've heard people talk about. But
yeah, and I feel like it can be dangerous for both sides because it can be dangerous for whoever the influencer is, especially the more they grow, as like you said, like someone stalking them or things. But then it's also dangerous for the followers or the fans because there are people who have big followings who are predatory, who use that. Yes, and they'll manipulate people to get their money, and then like weird like abuse situations happen and cult-like shit. Like that's real. It takes so much discernment in this world that we're in to just like have that awareness that like when you're following people online, like you do know some things about their life. And especially like me, I feel like, and there's people that I follow who I feel like do a really good job of being vulnerable with boundaries. Like they'll tell you things that they're working through, but they may not tell you every little detail of the fight they had with their boyfriend. Right. But they'll tell you, like, personally for me, I'm working through this, like, unworthiness or whatever. Like, I feel like there's a way to do it where you can connect with people but still keep yourself safe.
But still protect, like, and, it's so interesting because I love to be very open and vulnerable and raw. But there is, like, a level to that where I'm like, okay, this can be like a very safe, closed, sacred experience that I keep for myself, because it's not necessary to, okay, now I haven't experienced this personally, but how whenever you are, they say like whenever you're in a ceremony or like a medicine ceremony, and it's best just to like not talk too much about your experience
because it dilutes it.
Yeah. Or then you start to try to like make it logical, and that won't ever work.
Yeah.
So like it's like the same thing with certain experiences. Like it's good to keep it sacred, and there's a level of self, in my opinion, for myself, a level of self-respect and self-advocacy as well of like, ooh, safe space. Closing this space. This is sacred.
Yeah. Like there's certain things that it's like everybody just doesn't need to know about you, about me. Like there are certain things that it's like, I'm gonna keep this close to my chest because this is like really deep for me, or this is really sensitive, or it's sacred, and I will only share that with people who can hold that with me. You know, like that's so important. I feel like I'm still navigating that, like learning how to, like, because sometimes I can overshare. I can be an oversharer where I'm just like, I'll tell you my whole life story, and then I feel like,
oh shit,
oh fuck, like you don't really get it. Like I don't think I should have told you or all
you
of those like my deepest traumas in the first time I met you.
Because it's like, okay, to circle it back around with like being able to access someone, that is a level of access that is granted to only a couple of people who have earned that access.
Yeah.
To you. And that also comes from understanding who that is coming from like having those points where you do overshare and then come to find out maybe that was used against you.
Yep.
Oh no, you know, and it sucks, and it creates a definite like internal struggle. But man, over time you start to learn, okay, I can't share that with this person.
Yeah.
Like with you, I could tell you anything.
Yeah.
All of the nitty gritty. And there's a couple, very small list of people. But like, I don't know. Like, it's like, you just really have to protect your energy, protect your who you are, protect your backstory, because it taken out of context, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and that's the thing about sharing online is because, especially as your followers grow, you are opening yourself up to the judgments and the projections of whoever comes across you. And it's, before I say the other thing that I want to say, I just feel like I want to say, I do tend to overshare, but it's interesting because I'm also very private with a lot of things. And so when I find myself oversharing is when I feel like, oh my God, I really like this person.
Yeah. Like
we just met and we're like vibing and I'm like, she's really cool. Like I'm going to tell her like this whole story about this thing that happened in my childhood. Yeah. And then even if that person is cool, then afterwards I'm like, I don't really know you like that. Like, I don't know if I should have told you all that.
And you kind of feel, I get anxious. I get really anxious if I feel like I've overshared, or I just get really triggered and concerned. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh God. Like,
is like, I don't know this person. I don't know what they're going to think of me. Like, and I've seen like people who I really fuck with, like whether it's a musician, an artist, an influencer, like a YouTuber, I've seen how they can go from being like super like cool and relatable and chill,
grounded,
and then the more they grow their following and the more eyes they have on them, there's more separation. And there's more like, I mean, I think on one hand it's like they just get more professional with things, like they take better pictures, they get photographers and things, but then there's also like they don't want to share as much sometimes because it's like, oh, I have like that's 500K followers now, or whatever.
That's a lot of eyes.
Yeah, and it's actually unnatural for us to like be that have that many opinions.
No.
Yeah.
No, that is not natural.
But also like it's such a blessing because we can literally like create a business just from online, like from talking to people and like from sharing your life. There's people who have entire, you know, YouTube channels and things that are just vlogging, sharing like their life. Isn't that so cool?
It is cool, and that's something that I'm wanting to do.
Yeah.
I really do. I love the idea of just being able to share who I am and vlog it. I do. Like it's exciting and interesting. But there is like a level of that can be so, You're seeing the inside of my house.
Yeah.
You're seeing my bedroom.
Yeah.
You're seeing like, you know, like.
I used to even do some vlogging on YouTube, and I thought I was going to go more down that route because I follow a lot of YouTube vloggers, and I was like, ooh, it was fun. And it was fun. And, like, I love having the videos, like, as the memories, and, like, getting to share that with people is really cool. But I feel like, especially, like, if you're on vacation or something, there's something about just feeling like you have to have the camera up, and like if there's something cool happening, you have to show people
all the time. Like, what moments are your own?
Right. And so that's the only thing, because then that's where it ties into where we're talking about, like, when you put up the camera, then
okay, like,
the filter goes up.
Exactly.
So if you have the camera up all day, most of the day,
who's experiencing?
How much are you really yourself?
Yeah. Is it you, or is it this mask? Because there is, like, a level of, like, let's be real. Like, there's gonna be a part of it, like in the beginning of this, right?
Yeah.
You can tell the difference in the shift of the energy, because at first it's like, okay, we got to get acquainted to the camera.
And even still, there's some things that I'm not going to talk about.
Yeah. Like,
on camera. Like,
but it's like we were saying, like, when you're always filming and you're like, who is experiencing the life? Is it you, or is it like, like just that mask?
Hey friend, if you are interested in plant medicines, or if you're on the plant medicine path, or even if you just like to work with plant medicines to enhance your spiritual practice, you are going to love Four Visions Market. Four Visions Market has a wide selection of many different spiritual tools that can help enhance your spiritual practice. They have just about anything you could imagine to fit your personal spiritual needs, such as an amazing collection of hape, which is my personal favorite thing to buy from them. Four Visions is my go-to place to get hape, and my two favorites from them are Divine Mother Rose and the Ojo de Jaguar hape. And even if you're not into hape like me, I promise you they will have something you're gonna love. They have a wide selection of spiritual tools, with anything from ceremonial cacao to botanical tinctures such as king nettle tincture, which, by the way, nettle is one of the most amazing and nutritious plants that you can put in your body. So everyone needs them a little bottle of king nettle tincture. They also have some amazing healing lotions, Florida water, yoni steaming blends, tea blends, sananga, and they have an entire line of CBD products, including tinctures, body butters, pain salves, and even a little something for your pets. And the beautiful thing about Four Visions is that every single product in their marketplace is created handmade by indigenous people of the Amazon. And what I really love about them is that they give 50% of their profits back to those indigenous artisans to support them and their families and the tribes, and make sure that they are healthy and beautiful and thriving as well. I am so grateful to be partnered with Four Visions. I really believe in their message and their purpose in this world. I love the way that they support and give back to the indigenous communities in the Amazon. And I think it's probably one of the best companies that you could support, because they are really doing a lot to help those indigenous people. And I have a special 10% off code for you. So if you click the link in the show notes and use the code Sariena Rose, you can get 10% off your first order. Now let's get back to the episode. What do you feel like is the most difficult thing you've had to overcome in your life?
I still feel almost like I haven't overcome a lot of things. I'm in the process of it.
It's a constant unfolding.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is having to learn to walk away from certain relationships that do not serve and hold a purpose, and that create intense anxiety, stress, worry, concern, all of the things, and being able to break away from that without even having the fear of letting people down and hurting people's feelings.
Yeah.
Because that is what directly leads me into, like, the healing process of all of the things, all of the bullshit.
Like all of the times that you let somebody treat you less than you deserved.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because usually it's like I just stay. And I just become a doormat, if you will. A pushover. And when you're used to trying to be the person that comforts everyone and creates peace, and then you're the one disrupting the peace.
But it's like, you don't always have to be the peacemaker. That's when it's time to know, like, where is my boundary? Like, where do I need to be more firm? Like, I feel that. It can be hard, and we see the good in people.
Very much.
Yeah, like we see the light in them. And something that came to me a while back was see the light in people, but don't be blinded by it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's so profound, because it's like sometimes we do get blinded, and we just, I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've let walk all over me, or
see
like
good
just
people, but don't be blinded.
It's hard. And I feel that too. I feel like I have trouble, like I have a hard time with change in life.
Mm-hmm.
My astrology, I have a Scorpio North Node, which means my life, and I have Pluto in Scorpio, so it's like I'm constantly dying and being reborn, and basically that's my whole purpose in life.
Death and rebirth.
Yeah.
Death and rebirth.
But that means I have South Node in Taurus, which means all I want is comfort in my life. All I want is stability and security, but it's the hardest thing for me to obtain.
Oh.
And so it's like this weird, like, push and pull dynamic where it's like I'm constantly dying and changing and shifting, and things in my life are constantly shifting, but I try to hold on to them. So, like, I've had, like, I still think about people that I was friends with, like, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, damn, like, how are you doing? You know, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but there has been a level of, like, not wanting to let go of people and letting life take its course, because everything has seasons, and, like, some people ain't meant to be with you for all the seasons. And no. I'm just like, damn, I can't take y'all with me.
It's hard.
Yeah.
That, like, I think about that all the time. Like, the people, like, just people that I love, and I just, growing apart and letting go is such a weird thing.
It is. It's hard. And I think on my end, like, I've had some situations where it's like I'm outgrowing you, and I'm realizing that there's actually a lot of toxicity here, and, like, you're not, and I'm like, we're not healthy for each other, and we're both just like, it's not a good situation.
Yes.
But I've also had it where I had to, like, let people go who were, like, good people, who, like, I love you, like, I still fuck with you, but also, like, I'm evolving to this place where it's like, you can't meet me there. Like, you don't understand, like, this transformation that I'm going through. And you know, this person I am. Like, I can't communicate with you anymore.
It's not a match. That's
like a vibrational match.
Okay.
And
right.
I feel like it sounds so, like, I'm just too high vibe for you. But
no, but
that's not at all what I mean.
It's just not. It's not. Congruent anymore.
It's not in alignment.
That's okay.
And I still love you, and I still fuck with you, and, like, sometimes, like, that's how life is. Like, you move on. Different
pages, and sometimes those paths can come together, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's okay. It's interesting because the one thing that is so blatantly obvious that it is time to depart, it's time to find an exit point in that connection, is when you've been spending a lot of time doing growth or healing and working on yourself and developing, and then there's somebody in your life who's like, oh, you changed. I don't like who you're becoming. But you know, in your heart of hearts, you feel more aligned and more safe as you are now versus the individual you were that they're comparing this former self to.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like it's so cool when you have people that can grow with you. I feel like when you have people in your life that are also on a path of healing and, like, getting to know themselves more and working on themselves, and, like, you can hold each other through that and see each other. And I feel like that with you and, like, our group of friends is we're all so different from how we were when we first met.
Oh, God.
But we still vibe. Like, we're growing together. Yeah, and we're helping each other along the path. And, I mean, all those people that we've had to let go of too, they also helped us on the path in some way.
Form and mold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like everyone's not meant to be there for every season.
No.
And that's okay. And it's still like we gotta grieve that too. Like we have to allow ourselves to grieve the person that we were when we were with that person in a relationship or a friendship or whatever, like, because different people bring out different aspects of us, but they'll always, like, those moments will always be a part of our story and our journey. So it's like, it's all sacred. Even the people that have hurt us the most, like, that's a part of the story of Sariena or the story of Sydney.
You know what I picture a lot of the times? I don't know if I'll be able to like share this visual that I have a lot in words, but I'll try to. But sometimes I'll think of everything in my life, all the people who have hurt me, you know, and my teachers, people, just, you know, people that played a role in my life enough to create an impact, good or bad. Sometimes I just visualize like they're all playing a character, and at the end of the day or the end of my life, right, just seeing them kind of clapping and saying, you fucking did it, bro. You killed it. And it's like the people who maybe I fucking had beef with, you know?
Right.
Like,
those are our biggest teachers.
but they're there, and they're like, hell yeah, you fucking did it. And it's like the bow, like the seeing them and saying thank you, and them seeing me get to the end goal.
It makes me think of for some reason, recently I heard somebody say that there's some people who come into our lives and they play the role of the villain, or like they're just like, maybe in this lifetime they are just very a narcissistic, like,
Soul.
Yeah, like person who is just wreaking havoc on other people's lives. But sometimes I don't know, like, this is one of those things, like, I like to ponder on things. I don't just listen to what people say and be like, oh, that's definitely true. I see, like, what do I think about that? You know, like, does this resonate? So this is one of those things. They said that sometimes, like, very high vibrational, I guess, or, like, high, how am I trying to say it? Like very high light beings will incarnate as these people who, like, will be like your narcissistic parent or whatever, but they are serving a like divine purpose to help get you to like evolve from this whatever.
I think it's interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I don't know if I necessarily believe that's true, or if it is, like, it's definitely not. I don't think it's everybody.
No, I think I'm
like
open to it.
Bad person.
But I feel like there's something that, right? Yeah, it's like it's nuanced.
Yeah.
It's like, as
is everything.
Everything.
This is why I love podcasts, because we have enough time to talk about the nuances.
That part.
You know? And like in a 30-second, 60-second Instagram video, there's no time to like discuss all of the little nuances of what I think about something or the world.
Yeah.
Like, the world is inherently paradoxical.
And can I also share a perspective? I'm curious how you feel about this. In this universe, there's no such thing as objectivity. Right? So everything is subjective. Your experience is subjective. My experience is subjective. How do you feel? Like, do you want me to go deeper on that and elaborate?
You can, but I kind of get what you're saying.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like that's
philosophy.
I feel like that's a part of the truth. Because I feel like when you are living in this 3D reality where you have a body and a ego, like this personality, this human that I am right now, everything is subjective because you're seeing everything from your perspective based on your life experiences. But when you go to a higher level where you are just one with God, one with everything, there is an objective truth that permeates all existence
through everything.
Yeah, and it's a part of everything. But within that, there is all of these little separate truths and experiences and opinions, and that's why it's just so interesting. And I think these days a lot of people don't know how to have conversations, and they don't know how to, like, there's so much conflict because we don't know how to differentiate what is opinion and what is fact. And the lines are blurred. Some people are like, this is fact because science says so, or because there was this study done, or whatever. But then one day another study is going to be done that says that that's not true. So it's like, what is fact and what is fiction? What is truth?
What is not?
And what is fact? What's opinion? You know, all of these things. I feel like there's, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a deep conversation.
It's very wild. Because I think it's safe to say that, because I always seem to think of like your connection with spirit. So like spirituality as a whole is not a one size fits all.
No.
It's not.
Yeah.
But there's so much confusion and inner conflict too, because depending on who your mentor is or your teachers or who you're listening to, maybe they're saying like, this is how you do this is the truth, but there's something in you that doesn't fully align with that, but it's conflicting and confusing because like, you're like, okay, well, I don't know because this person is saying this and they must know more than me, but I'm feeling this, but I don't know because I don't know enough and I'm just learning, you know what I mean? And so then it's like, then there's like a lot of like anger and resentment that can come in.
Yeah.
Because you're confused. And I feel like it's so important to have outside sources and external people to learn from. That's very important. Having mentors, learning from people who have walked the path before you, but also to understand your intuition and your discernment and to discern. Yes. I feel like discernment should be taught first before anything else.
Yeah.
Because, well, no, I can't say that either because that's, that's my truth. But if you think about it, not discerning something for yourself and then realizing later, oh, that wasn't for me, that's how you develop your discernment. It's like all in like an initiation.
Yeah. And it's like a deeper level of that is like, can you trust yourself? Like, I feel like a lot of us have a hard time trusting ourselves and believing in ourselves and knowing ourselves. And a lot of that obviously comes from childhood and times where we thought we were doing something right, and then someone's like, no, that's wrong, like, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right? Roy and I talk about this all the time, my partner, how it's so nuanced. Everything is so nuanced, and I feel like there's balance to everything, because I think that you should have people that are on the path or maybe a little further ahead than you that you can get advice from or learn from. I think that's so important. But I think that if you're looking at that person, like, they know everything and they know what's right for me, that's where we get messed up, because we're all so different and each of us has a different path. So like, really tuning in with yourself and being able to say like, does this resonate with me, is so important. And I feel like it takes time to learn that art. I'm still learning.
We'll always develop it, but over time it'll become something we can master. The art of discernment. Yeah. The art of discerning for oneself.
Trusting yourself.
Trusting thyself. So let me ask you this.
Oh.
Okay. In what ways right now are you beginning to trust yourself more, or are you learning to trust yourself more with?
I feel like I'm learning to trust myself to know who I want to be around and the kind of people that I want in my life, because I've really struggled in like relationships with people, in romantic relationships and friendships. I've had a really hard time relating to people. Yeah. And I've had a lot of situations where I felt betrayed, or like I've had a lot of situations where I really trusted somebody and like was very deeply vulnerable, which is a challenge for me at times. And my trust was betrayed, or I was abandoned in some kind of way. And that has made it difficult for me to trust anyone. So I had this experience actually in my recent ayahuasca journey where I felt like so disillusioned. Like I felt like, oh my God, I can't trust anything. I can't trust like the people here who are my friends. I can't trust even my spirit guides. Like I was like these deities and beings that I call upon. I was like, can I even trust them? Like, are they going to hurt me? And it was so interesting. And I went to get some help from one of my friends who's the facilitator there. And she was like, do you trust yourself? And I had to take a second and I'm like, it's like I do, but I thought I trusted myself before. And I was hurt. And also like realizing that wound of not being able to trust people is deeply ingrained because I had a single mother as a parent who was, we had a very difficult relationship and I did not trust her. I could not trust her. And she didn't trust the world. She didn't trust people. I didn't trust her. And so it's like, if you can't even trust the people who are supposed to like, who brought you into this world, who are supposed to care for you, like who can you trust? If those people are hurting you, and those are the ones who are supposed to care for you no matter what, like, what is the world? Like,
because those are
how
your
can I trust
building
anyone?
blocks,
Yes.
too.
Your building blocks for all your future relationships are in your parents. So, like, that takes a lot of unlearning.
Reparenting.
Yeah. And having to, like, find forgiveness also for my mother and all my parents. But, yeah, it's such a journey. And I think that I'm in this place in my life now where I know the people that I want in my life, like you and our close group of friends. Like I know that I have really seen the signs and the red flags of what I don't want in a friendship or a relationship. And the biggest thing for me is knowing that like we can talk about things. You know, I think that most relationships can be mended or repaired if both people are willing to like set aside their egos and like be like, how could I make this better?
Oh, yeah.
You know, what am I doing wrong in this situation? I feel like if someone is able to say, I fucked up and I'm sorry, that's how I know if I'm willing to give this person a chance, if you will. You know, that's kind of my radar detector because I got a narcissist trauma.
Yeah.
I've had a few
Run-ins.
narcissist type people.
Yes.
I'm not diagnosing anybody, but
No, yeah,
I've had my run-ins with narcissistic tendencies, and I got trauma. So
It's baby. It runs deep.
Baby.
It runs deep.
Okay, and then after you dealt with a few narcissists, then you start questioning everybody.
Even yourself.
Yeah. Am I a narcissist?
That is the biggest question.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But the funny thing is, a narcissist would never ask themselves that question.
Depending on how self-aware they are, maybe, I'm sure.
But I feel like that's the whole thing about being a narcissist is you're not self-aware.
Yeah.
You literally cannot look at yourself. You literally cannot. Like, it's so interesting because I feel like narcissism, and I'm no psychologist or anything, but just what I've seen in my experience is like, everything is about you and what you need and what you want, but it's never, like, you can't do anything wrong in your eyes. Like, and I think we all have elements of narcissism, you know? I think that we should talk about that more, because I've had experiences where, like, I've had that problem feeling like I can't be wrong. Like, I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah. I think that's a big part of it, like what you just said. Like, the idea of being wrong.
Like, it's okay to be wrong.
And I'm curious if it's like, I know for me, I was raised by very strong women, but to the point where almost like femininity is almost like pushed away and seen as like a bad thing. And it was all about like you have to be smart, like you can't be wrong, you have to be smart, you need, and that's I mean, honestly, if you think about it, with like surviving as a woman, and especially years and years ago, like that was something you needed as a defense mechanism to be heard, like your intelligence, and like, I don't know.
So I would love for us to talk about your relationship with music, because you are like an outstanding musician. Like your voice, it just gives me chills, and your guitar playing, and it's just like angelic and so beautiful.
Wow.
And we relate so much on music and our journeys and our struggles being a musician, being a creative person. I would love for you to touch on that.
Yeah, dude, music hits a string in my soul, a soft spot in my soul, because, well, to start, music was always a big part of my experience, like just growing up, my experience in general, because my dad was a musician, a guitar player, a vocalist, songwriter. He performed a lot. He was always doing shows. So I was always around stages and people. And then my grandfather, he was a musician. And I was around, I mean, music was just, I mean, my uncle was a stage manager. It's like, it just ran through. And I remember I first got, funny story, did I ever tell you this? I first got into, when I was in the 2nd grade, my dad put me and my sister in, for me, I was in guitar and piano. She was in vocal lessons, I think. And guitar. I loved piano. I fucking hated guitar.
Really?
I hated it.
That's crazy.
Did I ever
No,
tell
you never told me that.
I never told you about
No.
how I made my guitar teacher so fucking mad to the
Oh
point
my
where he was like, okay,
God.
well, then we're done. Like, no more sessions.
What?
Oh my God. So, yeah, I wanted to go to piano because I loved piano. And then the guitar was guitar day. And I'm like, fucking, okay. Because he was just showing me bummy notes. He wasn't like, okay, and there's nothing, I mean, guitar, like, music theory is important, but I like to go. I just like to go. I just want to make the sound.
The music theory part is so boring.
And do my thing.
Yeah.
But I respect it.
And it's necessary.
It's
yeah, you do. It really is.
It really is important to understand.
But it's so boring.
It's very boring. And so I'm sitting there, and he's like, and I think from what I can recollect, he would tell me to do something, like, I don't fucking want to do it. And then he got so mad. He was like, okay, then you don't want to do it? Okay, fine. Go. Leave. Just like that. And mind you, I'm like,
how old are you?
Okay. I think I was in the 2nd grade, so I must have been 7.
Oh my God, you're so young.
Yeah.
That's so young still.
I was young, but I was like, all right, fuck it. Bye.
Bye.
Bitch. Like,
okay. I don't even like guitar.
And then a year later, I was sitting there holding it and pretending to strum it because... I didn't know how, but I wanted to play it. I was singing it. And I was like, screw this. And I got on YouTube and I just learned chords. That was it. And then I started to learn them over time, every day. It was so addicting. It was so addicting. I'd bring my guitar to school every single day. I was so confident that my career was going to be a touring musician. That was exactly what I was going to do. And I had a lot of really beautiful experiences, and I'm very blessed to know very incredibly talented musicians who have done the thing, and to have them back me, that's awesome, and that's a privilege, and to learn from them. Not a lot of people have that. And that's fucking awesome. So I'm very humbled by that, by being able to grow up around amazing, talented artists, and my dad, dude. Anyway,
yeah, your dad's amazing.
Dude.
He's a great musician.
He is wild. It's crazy.
So what happened?
Oh yeah. I ended up, relationships happen. You get with narcissistic people, like we were speaking about. And it was interesting how narcissists will recognize your power mostly before you do, because it's usually people who are very, have a lot of trauma and might not have a good, like, self-image, which was me. And I got with this narcissist who knew my power and was afraid of it. So did everything that he could to make it impossible for me to see it. And music was one of the things that he separated me from heavily and made me think I could never do it and that I sucked. And I believed that. And I think what happened is it just was so dark that anytime I would play music, I would just be reminded of how I let it down. And I missed a really important gig, a very important gig, because of this person, where a lot of my family members were there, a lot of people who, mentored me and I learned from, and, friends and family, they were there, and I bailed completely. Because I went and I got this dude instead of going there. So there was so much darkness surrounding it. So picking up the guitar was brutal. Brutal. Absolute hell. I'd be so angry and just like, fuck, I could never get through a song. I'd be playing and singing, and it didn't feel the same anymore. Singing, I felt like I couldn't sing anymore. I was so constricted. So
Your
constricted.
Voice was literally like
so constricted.
Cut off. Yeah.
And I know that you relate to this, because the relationship that I have with music is almost as like, music is so personified, but not even personified. Like, I don't know. I'm in love with it. It's like a romantic yearning. It's a connection. And I hurt her. You know what I mean? But
I
abandoned, yes.
Yeah.
And it just, the guilt. So it wasn't until recently that I finally, I actually lost a very dear friend. And that death hit me. In a very interesting place I have not touched before. And this individual who passed was such a fantastic musician and lived and breathed music and inspired me so much. And so after his passing, I felt like, okay, I have to do this now. I cannot not do this anymore. Just something felt like, okay, I can't waste this. I have to do it for me. Not necessarily to be anything or to be seen. No, just because it is therapy. It's the one way I'm able to articulate an emotion. And allow somebody else to catch a glimpse of what I'm feeling, maybe. You know that feeling when you just want, like, I wonder if this person could ever understand what I'm feeling. I don't want to make someone feel like shit, but I want to articulate my emotion in a way that maybe could project it. Yeah. In a way that can be experienced.
And people can relate to that.
And yeah. And so just been writing and singing and playing and creating just because it is a part of me. It is the one thing that makes me feel free.
Yeah. And like, I think that that's so beautiful, and that like it gets to just be for you, and that, you know, if you decide that you want to share it one day, that's up to you. But I definitely relate. Yeah. You know a lot of my struggles with music. And it's funny, actually, when I think about it, that I think a lot of my, like, I feel like I experienced a similar experience to you with, like, having a person with very deep narcissistic tendencies restricted my voice and my power. But for me, that person was my mom. And so music has always been like everything to me. It's like my joy, it's my peace, it's like where I go when I feel lost or sad or depressed or anything. Like music has that power to uplift us or to validate our feelings, because so many of us feel alone, and I know that I've felt alone for a lot of my life, especially in childhood. And to be able to put on a song that can communicate the emotion that I'm feeling that I thought nobody else felt. That is so powerful.
That's powerful. It's raw.
Music was always a thing. And so from the time that I was a little girl, I remember saying, I'm going to play the flute. I want to play the flute. And it's just so funny. I remember as a child, like playing with my Barbies and like making up little songs. And when I was in elementary school in 4th grade, I got into band, because that's like the age that you had to be to get into band. That's when I started playing the flute, and I loved it. And I like continued in band all the way through middle school and high school. And in middle school, I picked up the saxophone and was in like marching band, and high school band was awesome. Like we had a really, really good band at our school. And yeah, it was just such a big part of my life and so important to me. And I graduated high school and I went to college for music education because I thought I was going to be a music teacher. And bro, when I got into college, like when I was on my own, I just like fell apart. I had so much trauma. Like I did not know how to like survive in the world, and I was in a bad situation. Like I was living in an apartment instead of in the dorms, and so I had to pay rent, and I was working a job that was like 45 minutes away from where I lived, and just because of the way my school schedule was set up, I could only work on the weekends. So it was just like I was stressed out. I was going to school like 12 hours a day and working all weekend just to pay my rent, and I was so fucking depressed. I didn't have any friends. And that lasted for, I don't know, maybe like a month and a half in college. Like, I dropped out. I was just like, I cannot do this.
You're like, I'm done.
I can't do this.
Yeah.
I'm done. And the thing is, in college, like, I mean, I was only there for like 6 weeks, but the way that music, it was just so intense. And I remember, like, you had to take, like, private music lessons with a teacher, too. And the teacher was just like, if you're not willing to practice like 8 hours a day, then you're not going to make it. Like, and I wasn't even doing music performance. I was doing music education, like just learning to be a teacher. And she's saying I need to practice my flute 6 to 8 hours a day. And I was just like, I'm literally at school 12 hours a day. Well, obviously I didn't have classes all of those hours, but I don't know. So fast forward, like, I don't know. I just feel like, music was always really important to me, and I always felt like it was like my path, right? I always I dreamed about being a singer and things growing up. But when I would get into my like really dark moments, which I had a lot of them over the years, I would turn away from music sometimes. And I remember I didn't play my flute for years. And I forgot to mention, I also, like, in my senior year of high school, I started, was it senior? Or at some point in high school, I started singing as well. That's a whole other story that I feel like is too long to, like, add into this, but it's a really cool story that I'll probably tell one day on the podcast. But I never thought I could sing. And I had basically, like, my band director was like, you should sing this song. You should sing this singing part that's part of this song. And that opened up, like, oh my God, I can sing? Because I always would sing, but it was like, I would make a joke out of it. Like, I loved singing, but I never thought I was good.
Joke. Sing.
Yeah. And, like, I never thought I was good. And if I ever noticed anyone, like, paying attention to me, I would make a joke out of it.
Make it, yep.
Just start doing weird shit.
I do the same
like,
thing.
Please don't see me.
Yes.
So anyway, fast forward through the years, like, I had, like, a lot of depression that I had to deal with. And I do relate to that, where it's, like, that sense of guilt to some extent, because it's, like, music has always been there for me. But, like,
Yeah.
I abandoned music when I needed it the most. But really, I'm the one who's hurt by that. Right?
Really,
and then just, like, dealing with so much, like, self-doubt and resistance and feeling like I'm not really that good. That has been, it's, like, held me back from music for the longest.
That one is, like, feeling like, well, I suck anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point? Like,
I shouldn't even try.
I don't want to hear other people tell me that, too.
Yeah.
I don't want to see because there are going to be people who like, I don't fucking like it, this bitch sucks.
Right.
You know?
Everyone has their opinion.
And it hurts, though. It's like, because you have to validate it for your own self first. You have to own it.
Yeah.
Own who you are and be like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. So a few years ago, I was just in this place. I had recently gotten out of like a 2-year relationship that kind of like took over my life.
Yeah.
And that I chose to let it take over my life. I'm, not blaming that on anybody. But I was like, I want to do something with music. Like, music has always been my thing, Yeah. And I was like, I guess I never thought of myself as someone who would be like a recording artist. But I was like, what if I just learn how to like make beats and like make songs? And so I bought like all this equipment and I was like really into it for a bit, and then I would just get into this cycle of like I said, putting it down, feeling like I'm not even really that good, or like seeking so much validation from the people around me. And so yeah, over the years, it's been like a real struggle. Like, I have really had to deal with a lot of like insecurity around it, and it's just and resistance and like all of these things. But I relate to what you said, where I feel like I'm coming into this place now of like, no, this gets to be for me. Like, I want to play my guitar and sing. I want to make a beat and create a song because it's healing for me. Fun. And it's fun. And it literally brings me life. Like, the times in my life where I set music to the side, I didn't sing, I hardly even listen to music, those times are like so gray in my mind. Like, there was no fun. There was no life. There's no enjoyment. There was nothing beautiful. Like, it was, because I don't want to say nothing beautiful,
but you're not creating. You're not pushing that. You're not expressing that energy. You're not letting it out. There's no way to direct it. And when creative energy is stuck, it turns into all kinds of fucking fucked up shit.
Yeah.
It turns into beautiful ugly.
Yeah.
The big, beautiful ugly.
That's been so much of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, suppressing my creativity. Yeah. And it's like our natural instinct in life is to create. That's humans. It's our entire purpose.
Creation.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. It's deep. Music is like, it is everything. It's just so funny how it's like something that means so much to me and is so sacred. And is like the only thing I feel like that has just permeated my entire life. I always knew I wanted to be a musician. From the time that I was young. Yep. And I didn't know exactly what that meant or how that would translate, but it's like, I am a musician. Like, it is who I am in this life. And I'm like starting to share more, but I'm not all the way there. I haven't haven't arrived.
And yet. That's okay. Yes, you have not yet arrived.
But for now, I'm just letting it be for me.
And that's good.
Because it's healing, and it's so needed for me.
Authentic and healing and grounding. And
there's a vulnerability to it, too, I think that is a big part of why I've been afraid to share it,
Because it's like a window to your emotions, to what you're feeling, to what you're going through.
Yes. Like, even just your voice is like, that's the sound of your soul.
It's your soul's sound.
And then when you write a song and you say like, hey, I feel like shit in this song, and then you sing it so vulnerably, oh my God, that's so scary. Like, it's like tragic. Tying it back to that fear of being seen for who I am. I think that there is nothing more vulnerable than art.
Having your art be put on your interwebs, your socials, and having other people like there to react to it and express. I know we've already kind of touched on this, but that is so scary.
Yeah.
That is so
laying
scary.
yourself out for the world to see, bare. Like, this is me. But honestly, like, that's what the world needs.
It's freeing if you think about it, because if you create that sense of self, and I know who the fuck I am. Mm-hmm. There's nothing you can tell me that's going to change my mind of how fucking awesome and how validated I am. Mm-hmm. How I can take up this space. How I can be seen. It's okay if you don't like it, because I love me. Mm-hmm. And that's enough. Yeah. And I feel like if you can create that sense of validation in yourself, the wealth of validation first, it makes it so much easier.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because, so, like, I feel like at some point, it doesn't matter who said what or who commented what or how many likes you got or whatever. Okay, cool. I don't care. I'm good anyway. Fucking shit. Yeah. I'm a bitch. But it's, like, hard to generate that. Yeah. But it's something that has to be tailored to and worked on and tended.
I definitely agree. Mm-hmm. I think that it takes time to do that inner work, because there's people who even like put themselves out there, but they are seeking that validation. And then like you have these situations where someone gets mega famous and they have all these people who love them, but they also have all these people who hate them, and it just magnifies everything that they don't love about themselves. And so I feel like life, especially if you're going to be in any kind of spotlight, like you don't have to be Beyonce, but like if you're going to have eyes on you, I mean, just in life, you should, like, I think it's important to learn, like, to know ourselves,
to know who you are,
to love ourselves, to like, because then I feel like, and I'm getting there, I feel myself evolving in that way of like, oh no, I know who I am. I can trust myself. I know I have good intentions, and I know that I can be wrong sometimes, and I know that this is my path. You know, like, it's I don't need anyone else to validate me. I feel like I'm getting there. I wouldn't say I'm like all the way there, but
you're
that,
working
being
towards
real.
That.
Yeah,
you're moving towards that.
Yeah, and I feel like it really does come from knowing yourself.
Know thyself.
Yes.
Is the most powerful philosophy there is. Because if you know yourself, you know your fears, you know your hurts, you know your trigger points, you know the things that you said wrong, the things that you said completely right, you know just who you are, then it's more blissful, I feel like.
I love that.
If you trust that.
I love that.
Then you love that. And then you own it. You know?
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast
today. You're welcome.
This is so much fun. I feel like we could keep going forever.
We could.
But I think we're good.
We're good?
I think that's a great place to end it.
Okay, perf.
And I do want you to tell the people, like, what you got going on. Where can they find you?
Yeah.
What do you be doing out here?
So I am on TikTok. I am on Instagram, at Ananarrah.
Yes, I'll tag her in the show notes.
Anarrah. And I am out here, assisting and directing and illuminating the self and the beauty that lies within you. And I love holding space. And so yeah, you go find me over there. Yes. And catch me out here doing the things.
Yes,
just
catch
living.
Me outside.
How about that?
You can get a reading from her. Okay, go to her website.
Yeah, it's all linked in my socials.
Yes.
It's a Stan Store.
Yes.
/Ananarrah.
And she makes jewelry as well. I have this necklace and this bracelet that she made. And you rocking some of your own stuff too.
We're rocking it.
So you better go check her out.
Send her a message. Making jewelry, so just send me a message. My door's open, babe. We'll get you all adorned.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you all for watching. Yeah. I really hope you enjoyed this. And this was fun.
It was fun.
I feel like we definitely got to do it again.
We have to do it again. There will be a return.
Yes, for sure. We hope you all enjoyed. We love you.
Love you. Mwah.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment letting me know how you liked this episode. And if you have topic suggestions for future episodes, feel free to leave them in the comments there. If you're listening on a podcasting platform, it would really help me out if you could leave me a nice review, letting me know how you like the podcast so far. Thank you so much and stay blessed.